So today we're going to talk through a bunch of heart rate graphs from athletes who did the workout. One of our name game workouts was down and dirty was the workout. It's 4 rounds for time, 25/20 calorie air bike, and then 5 sandbag cleans and 2 legless rope climbs. So some monostructural gymnastics, weightlifting, kind of classic triplet, fairly heavy loading. It was 150-pound bag for males, 100 for females. And obviously, like, the gymnastics are what slows a lot of people down. So oftentimes, like, you'll see like a dip in heart rate before that those efforts. So honestly, this is one where maybe I'm getting my head of myself a little bit, but like, you'll probably see a lot of athletes who if like the flatter their graph is, almost like they mean it's like they're more proficient with like the legless rope climb, essentially, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I expect with this one too, you're going to see a lot of kind of like the one we're looking at right now, which is Dubby, right? That's
Yep.
what everyone calls him. The initial spike, right? Getting that initial spike. And this one's one because there's like the rope climbs takes a lot out of people going right back to the bike. It's very much going to be like close to like the red line area, close to that max heart rate. So, and you can see it pretty clearly here. So
yeah, you can basically see each time where he jumps back on the bike.
Yeah.
So like, I'm guessing like the first couple minutes, this is the case with a lot of heart rate graphs when athletes send them to me. And like, I kind of wanted to talk with you about this because it obviously differs a little bit per discipline. But like, even like, for example, if you had a triathlete who was doing their like a brick session, so like run and bike combined, you're probably going to see heart rate dip during the transition period, and then it'll slowly like climb back up to like a similar place to where they're at before. But like during those transitions is when like their heart rate recovers, and like obviously that's a little bit by design, but also it's just like related to work rate. So it's one of those things, like, whether, regardless of what type of athlete you are, if you're in a discipline or sport that requires like those transition periods, that you want to use those not just as like, oh, this is like my in-between time, but it's like you are actively using that to like manage your work rate throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. And I think looking at the heart rate graphs like really highlights that point, like you were saying, because a lot of times I think we as coaches say that, like, hey, transition, just kind of move methodically, breathe, try to get heart rate down and all that. But seeing it in like a graph form, you could see that kind of happens naturally. Someone gets done with a legless rope climb, so they're most likely, unless they're racing someone, they're most likely going to like have a slower pace walking back, kind of gather up again, and then hit that next round pretty hard again, unless they're racing someone and they're trying to beat someone to the finish line. Then that's where things get a little spicy. But yeah, and the other interesting thing about heart rate is that like we are seeing heart rate, like what we're looking at right now is heart rate, and oftentimes like if I'm asking an athlete for heart rate, they're going to look at it, but that doesn't mean that that's what like slowed them down in the workout. Like, good chance if we just gave people like legless rope climbs like 3 days a week for like a year, that like their heart rate graph looks completely different when doing this workout, just because like for a lot of people, like they have to rest before each of those legless rope climbs because they're a challenging movement. So it's like they have, like, whether they could articulate that like, oh, my heart rate's too high, or my biceps were too tired, or like I just feel like I need a second for my blood pressure to come down, whether they can articulate that or not, like, doesn't really matter. It's just like, so like I guess like when as a coach is like, as I get this kind of information, it's like this might not even be like the most important piece of information out there. And usually for CrossFit stuff, like I don't track heart rate, and that's why. It's because like there's so many factors that are involved that it's like hard to say like was your heart rate and systemic work rate the thing that actually slowed you down, and a good chunk of the time it's not. Yeah, and another thing too, it's like if you were to look at someone who is a runner and you're looking at their heart rate graph for their, let's say, long run, interval run, or whatever, it's very much like controlled. It looks like with, let's say they're doing like a long run, you'll see that's pretty steady. There's some small dips and all that, but nothing crazy, nothing like drastic like what we're looking at here. Or if they're doing intervals, the intervals look very much the same each time. But again, they're a runner, they do that all the time. So they're very familiar with the movement. They know how it feels. Where CrossFit has so many different movements, like if I'm not, like you were saying, if I'm not doing those rope climbs all the time, like it's going to vary so much. And then heart rate is so like sensitive to that. Like if you're not conditioned for that specific movement, if you're not practicing it all the time, and also just outside factors too. In this case, like in this workout, you're pairing it up with 2 other movements as well versus, you know, doing just rope climbs. So that also plays a huge role in it.
Yeah, like if I gave the legless row climb example, but even if we just had people do this workout every week for like a year, right? Which people be like, oh my gosh, that sounds ridiculous, until it's like, okay, well, you were an 800-meter runner and you ran 800 meters every week in one of your meets for your entire season. It's like, that's not uncommon at all. Oh yeah, new guest on the fitness movement. Yeah, I have no clue what I was saying now.
800 meters doing that repeatedly all the time.
But like, obviously, like when that's like your discipline and like you do the, you know, it's a very specific thing. I'm running. It's the same duration every time. It's on a flat track every time. It's like, even those people have changes in their performance based on like all the factors that, you know, impact a person. So it's like, the thing with CrossFit is most of the time you are doing a somewhat novel task, even if you've done it, you know, test, retest, like there's still so many factors that go into play that you're still having to kind of judge in live time what you're actually needing to do. Like, do I need to rest 3 more seconds before this legless rope climb because I have 3 more rounds, or am I just being a little bit soft and I should go right now? And like, those aren't questions that like a coach can answer for you, and they're not something that like I can look at a heart rate graph and tell you that like, oh yeah, you should have broke here or not.
Yeah. And what I think is cool about looking at Dubby's graph right here is that obviously he's a CrossFit athlete, so he's very much familiar with the style of the sport. And you could see like the peaks for like the first 2 to 3-ish rounds, they're very much similar. So he reaches like a very similar peak versus like if someone wasn't a CrossFit athlete and they came in and you told them, hey, do this
probably
exercise.
Like a huge spike on the first bike.
Yes, a huge spike. And then the second one's going to be even higher. And then the third, like drastic, right? Yeah. Where he reaches that same max heart rate for each round, or relatively the same, because he knows how to control and pace, and he knows the sport a little bit more. So he, like you were saying, if he needs to take an extra 3 seconds before going into that next rope climb because he knows he has X amount of rounds left, versus we see it all every year when it comes to the Murph, and then everyone who's, you know, decides to join in and they like haven't done a workout like that, and they just go in straight in, and then they burn out after the first mile, right? Because like they weren't thinking of like, they haven't trained that way, and they weren't thinking of like what's next after that first mile.
Yeah. And honestly, that's probably one where like they'll probably like get close to like max heart rate on that first run, and then like immediately like fall into doing like singles on push-ups.
Yeah.
Because they haven't done them in 3 years and they want to do Murph.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then their heart rate will come way back down. So one of the things that I think this was like Max from Training Think Tanks said this was like, you want to see like, you basically want to make CrossFit work cyclical, in the sense that like you were saying before, a runner, if they go for a run, you're going to see a steady increase in heart rate. It's going to, just say they're going out for like a zone 3 run, like a tempo run, right? You're going to see a slow increase up to the working rate, and it's going to basically plateau and stay there with maybe a slow climb. And it's like, that's essentially what you want to see in like a max effort CrossFit workout, if it's simple movements, like low tension, simple movements. So if it's like a light power snatch, double under bar facing burpee and it's like, you know, let's say 6 snatch, 6 bar facing burpee, 24 double under for 12 minutes. Okay. Small chunks, small work, or small chunks, pretty low time that you're working on each of those movements. So you should be able to like turn it over fairly quickly. And for a high level athlete, they're going to do that continuously. And like, if you look at their heart rate, it's going to go up. it's going to get fairly close to where their max relative to the workout is going to be. And then it's going to be fairly steady across with maybe a few little undulations. And then, but if you just like draw like a line across it, it's going to slowly increase and be like very similar to someone who was doing a 12-minute air bike time trial or something. Like, it's not going to look that much different. You look at it, you'd be like, I couldn't tell you this if this is CrossFit or if this is like a cyclical time trial. And part of that is like just being good enough where it's all those movements are a higher percentage of them is like repeatable and like more aerobic, so that people can just keep turning it over and they don't have to take those lengthy breaks. Where if like you have a new person, they're holding the breath, their burpees are inefficient, they run into like muscular endurance issues where they can't do that. So it's like they're gonna be reduced to managing work rest ratios essentially to try to get through the workout. Whereas like obviously a high level athlete doesn't deal with that. But I guess long story short, what that comes down to, like when I look at it as a coach, is like if someone has a pretty heart rate graph, meaning it goes up, it slowly plateaus and it stays there, like that means that you probably did pretty good attacking the workout.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have other graphs as well?
Yeah, let's go through. So like the one thing, we won't spend all the time on Dubby here. Yeah, I mean, for most of these, there's like a little bit of dead space at the beginning, which is also usually the case when you get sent them from an athlete. But yeah, I mean, his first 2 peaks are similar. His second 2 are pretty similar. There's definitely some like blips and things throughout that. So who knows if that's like adjusting pace or whatever. Let's go to, this is Cheryl. I believe I got everybody who, as far as I know, I got permission from everybody to share their name and everything. So I think we're good on that front. But
cool.
Yeah. So
hers is pretty steady.
This one I think was one of the most consistent, and Cheryl's a pretty cerebral athlete. We've been working together for several months now, like better part of a year, I believe. And before that, she was like a collegiate swimmer, and then did class for a while. I actually don't know how long, but I would say probably years, or maybe at least a year or 2. Yeah, hopefully I'm not completely wrong on that. but yeah, she's definitely got a pretty like extensive sport background, and like obviously with something like swimming, even if it's like pool swimming, it's going to be fairly short time domains relative to even some of like the qualifier style workouts, or even relative to this one. But it's still like pacing is pacing with a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, very consistent. You can see all of her peaks are in zone 4, which for her, I don't even know if she really did legless row climbs more than like a few months ago. So the fact that she like was able to nail this down that closely is a really good sign. And you could even see like, so there's like a couple little blips before the legless rope climb, and that's the sandbag cleans. So it looks like she did singles. Like you can literally like look at the graph and kind of tell that kind of stuff, which is cool. Yeah,
you see the little peaks. Yeah, hers is pretty steady, which I'm curious if she was a distance swimmer or a sprinter.
I think it was a mix. I would think she did like some medley stuff. I think she might have done some freestyle. I actually got it from her. But I think my main takeaway was that she did a variety of strokes, and that she also was like, even at 200, like it's a short time domain workout. Or test. So that was like my main takeaway from that, is like when I was looking at it. Yeah, I'm just looking at it from like more of like an energy systems perspective of like what things did you do, what patterns did you do, what time domain. So
yeah, and it also looks like you can see the blips from like what I'm assuming is the bike, but it's like she recovers very fast. So it looks like she gets off, she does the bike, it's pretty steady, and goes into the sandbag, and there's no like spike from the bike or anything like that. It recovers pretty quick, and then the sandbags, it goes back up and down. But like those drops seem like if she was doing singles, like she recovers pretty quick, and like it drops a few beats per minute each time, which is also interesting too.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, again, if we just look at this and you were to say, oh, this person was running, I'd be like, okay, they were running at like a threshold run pace, and then they maybe did some acceleration through the middle. Yeah. Like that would not be unreasonable to assume from this kind of a graph. Yeah. So like to think about it in like CrossFit terms, it'd be like, okay, this person was working at a rate that when they got off the bike, they were immediately able to transition over to the bag and do it at a pace, like a turnover that allowed their heart rate to stay pretty and the work rate to stay pretty consistent. And then the rope climbs were taxing, but they allowed themselves an appropriate amount of recovery, where you can see again the time between each of those legless rope climbs is very consistent. And then it's not like the heart rate comes way back down before she gets on the bike. So she was disciplined to get back on the bike and work at a steady pace that allowed her to get off and work again.
Yeah. Yeah, because once she leaves that zone 3, she doesn't go back to it. She stays in zone 4.
Yeah. Which honestly, a lot of like higher skill CrossFit workouts for people who aren't like an elite level are probably a lot in zone 4, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Cool.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot cleaner of a graph than that, so I think that was a good one. So this is Jim Royce.
Okay.
This one is, and God bless him, we've worked on it a lot, and Jim is a good athlete. Like, he's been to the age group CrossFit games. His heart rate graphs tend to be all over the place.
I was going to say, this one's pretty sporadic, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of
it is honestly something that we've dialogued quite a bit about, and he's also like, I think Jim might argue with me on this. I would say he's a fairly powerful athlete. Like, erg power is pretty good. He's able to like, it's more just like anthropometrics. Like, there's certain movements where he's not built necessarily super well to express power, like a squat. Like, he's really strong. It's just that, like, in the front squat position, he would be the first one to say it. He's got longer femurs. It's more of a challenge for him to get in good positions. So it's more of a challenge for him to express power and strength in those positions. But like a row, power snatch, total bar workout, like, he's going to be in the top tier and something like that. So I guess that's me defending Jim with a little bit of a frankly sloppy heart rate graph. But I love you, Jim. If you're listening.
So is it, I'm trying to see where the rounds are. So like the first round is from 0 to 2 minutes and 54 seconds, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think...
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I think that's him taking a rest before the bag.
Okay.
Like getting off the bike, possibly belting up and going into the sandbag. That would be my guess.
Okay.
And then going into his legless. He's pretty good at legless, so I don't think we see like that big dip right before that. I think for him is more about like managing the bag, coming off of the bike where you're breathing hard. So I believe, and Jim can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that's a get off the bike, take a couple deep breaths, belt up, and by that point it's like a 20-second transition to the bag or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because if that's the case, it seems like, because you said he's good at the rope climbs, his heart rate doesn't go up during those, where I think like the previous example, hers went up a little bit with every rope climb.
Yes.
And him, it stays pretty, it actually looks like it's, as he's doing it, it goes back down after. Like after doing the cleans. Okay.
And I think that's like that also plays a factor, right? It's like your confidence in different movements. It's like where you can push it, right? If he was super confident that he could get off and rip a set of touch and go sandbag cleans, which like most of the people here are doing singles, if that was the case, you'd probably see it like still a little blip coming off the bike and going into the sandbag cleans, and maybe it coming back down a bit, but going up again for the legless rope climbs. And then sort of like almost hanging steady or even recovering a bit on the bike, where you can just tell like where he puts his rest into it, right? Where like Cheryl, you could tell like it was more of a methodical pace on the bike so that she could get off and go right into the sandbag cleans. Whereas like Jim, if I'm guessing, Jim probably held faster paces than I would in this workout on the bike, would be my guess. But he's taking a longer break before his cleans. So it's like, obviously there's multiple ways that you can slice this sort of thing, but yeah, it shows in like how the graph plays out.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think, and also like Jim is someone who we've looked at heart rate for a while, but I haven't prescribed a whole lot for him other than the last like 6 months. I've done a lot more like zone work, trying to build up, especially like a running base for him. So they've been getting more consistent, a little prettier, but we still got some way to go there, if I'm just honest. Alrighty. This is Paige, teen athlete.
Yeah.
She's, well, actually now she's technically an adult. She's 18 now. But similar to, and this is just gonna be the case with a lot of females, similar to Cheryl, she's like the legless rope climbs are just still something that she has to respect a bit. Like she can't rip through 5 cleans and then immediately go onto the rope for 2 reps. It's just a big ask. So her breaks, I think, are relatively similar to Jim's, where she gets off the bike and takes a second, just based on those dips. But then you can tell her breaks are a little bit quicker coming off the bike.
Yeah. Hers is interesting too, because like she after the first round she spikes into like a high zone, because that's like around 180.
I think that's 4.
Yeah.
I think that's like high zone 4 for her.
Cool. Okay. And then she holds that there and then goes back down, and she goes back down pretty quick.
Just to go back up. Like a really fast recovery of heart rate. Like,
yeah.
Man, I don't like, even if I was standing after an air bike, I don't think my heart rate's coming down that fast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good sign.
For sure. I think it's really good if you get it that low between rounds, just because you're going to start back up again, right? And it's going to reach that high point, especially if you're staying during that whole round in a zone 4. If you're able to get it temporarily down to zone 3, then back to zone 4, and just recover quickly. But yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I guess one of the things we don't have here is like environment. That's, for me, has been like one of the most obvious things. Is like, if I'm just in a hot environment, my heart rate just does not recover. Like, it just stays up the whole rest time, whatever I take, right? And it's like, I'm like forced to rest longer because my heart rate's recovering slower. So
yeah,
I don't necessarily, this was a little bit of ghost, but I don't think it was like blazing hot for anybody that I recall.
Yeah, I know recently there was a big marathon, the Berlin Marathon. And so all these people train for it, right? Just like they would for Chicago, Boston Marathon. And this was like a few weeks ago. And so everyone's training for it. And they get there, and it's like the one day in Berlin that's like super hot out during this time of year. And it was like extremely hot. And there's people, and I was watching videos on it, and people were saying that like, oh yeah, I had estimated, like I wanted to finish it under 3 hours, sub 3. I ended up getting 3:35. Like, it was that drastic, like how much the heat plays into it. And I know too, because like, living in Tucson and working out in my garage, like when it's hot, it's hard to recover. Like if you're going on a run, it's like so hard to bring that heart rate down. So yeah, I'm curious to see how these would look if it was in the heat.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're sensitive to heat?
I am sensitive to heat. I would say yes, but I'm pretty good at holding a high heart rate for a long period of time. So if it's hot out, I'm able to like kind of grind through it and keep that high heart rate. But like my heart rate shoots up pretty drastically. So like now that it's cooler here, it's just started to get cooler. Like I'm able to do like any type of run or whatever and keep my heart rate like in the intended zone 2, zone 3 range. But like if I were to do that same workout, let's say it's a 5K, if I were to do that same run in the summer, like in July, my heart rate's usually like 170 to 185, and it's staying there the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like that's been one of the things that's been more clear to me over the last year, is like I have to respect the heat in terms of like altering pacing, just because like otherwise it won't go well. I remember I was on vacation and went for a run in the heat of the day, and I did not alter my paces at all. And I absolutely, like, I was ill after my run from, like, pretty sure I was, like, heat exhaustion. And I was, like, overheated so bad.
Yeah.
It was, like, one of those, like I got back to our place, and I was, like, just, like, completely woozy. Like, had no idea what was going on.
And you'll have, like, a lingering headache for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So there was, like, one run that I did, and we started a little later than we normally do. It was our Sunday long run. And so we started at like 8 a.m. versus like the normal 6:30 a.m. that we start. So no, we start at 7:30 and we normally start at 6:30. And my heart rate, like for the last 5 miles, was like ranging between like 190 to 200. Because it was so hot. And then the rest of the day, I just had this like raging migraine. I wasn't hungry. I just felt like crap. I couldn't really do anything for the rest of the day, but it's crazy how the heat just kills you.
It was also interesting that, like, so we had like a nice cool day on Wednesday when I ran here, and I, like, best run I had in like months or years. It was like, I felt so good. It was like a nice, like, refreshing day outside. It was like 60 degrees. And I got done, and within like 5 minutes I was hungry. I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm like never hungry when I'm done working out. I was like, this is crazy. It's just because like my core temp never got elevated that high. I was like, that's kind of bizarre, because like normally it's like, if I get done and I'm like hot when I'm done with a run, like I don't want to even think about food for an hour. Like I got to drink something, because that's the only way I'm going to get calories in.
Yeah.
Unless it's like gummies or something.
Oh yeah, like Sour Patch Kids.
I try not to do candy, but I'll do like fruit snacks and stuff.
Yeah. I go for the candy.
This is Alex Garcia.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I would say it's pretty consistent. It looks like... Okay, so he's got 5 peaks here. So maybe the first one was like a rehearsal round or something. And also, like, this is one where this is whoop and it came off the wrist. So totally possible that... Do you like, if you have athletes and they're doing heart rate, do you like look at wrist-based stuff?
I do. Obviously, like, the chest strap is always like the gold standard, like the one that is preferred. If they don't have that, then I'll rely on the wrist. And I've used it, like I've done on myself, where I'd wear the chest and I'll wear the wrist. And like, there are some differences, but for my purposes, like, it's enough for me to get good,
like, if you're running
data. Yeah, it's pretty consistent. If I were to do like a test with someone, like in a controlled lab space, I'm trying to get like VO2 max and get like really like gold standard type data, then chest strap is the way to go.
Yeah, I've always told people, like, especially if there's anything gripping related, like, I don't want heart rate off the wrist. And I think probably if you're running, you're okay for especially if you don't have a super hairy wrist. And like, you can actually, like, the whatever light it is can actually, you know, work correctly, and you have it tight enough where it's not wobbling around the whole time, then it probably works fairly well for running. But for my experience has been that, like, for gripping stuff, it's just kind of all over the place a bit more. Stuff I was doing, like rowing and toe to bar or something, it's not going to show up as well. Yeah. So maybe that's a little bit of me being stuck in, you know, several years ago when the heart rate stuff wasn't as good off the wrist. But I also just think, like, if you can get it off the chest, it's just going to be way better. Yeah. So it looks like this would be fairly accurate, just looking at the graph. Yeah. Whereas, like, there's times where I'm running, and it's like I'm progressively working harder and harder, and then all of a sudden, like, drops down like 30 beats a minute. I'm like, okay, I'm like, well, this is wrong.
There's no way I'm at 120 right now.
Yeah, literally. And it's always like as I'm like starting to actually really work hard, and then it drops down. Also, it kills me, like, I don't have an Apple Watch anymore, but when I did, I would literally do like a 40-minute CrossFit EMOM, and I would be wearing my Apple Watch. And I'm not the type of person who like puts on exercise mode unless I'm like using like GPS or something. So like I wouldn't put it on. It wouldn't detect exercise that entire time. I could be like literally dying on the ground after like a super long EMOM or like, Mecon or something. And it would be like, yeah, you're not exercising. But literally I could go outside and like walk for 3 minutes and it'll be like, are you walking outside? Do you want to record this exercise? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Garmin watches are the like most disrespectful watches. They'll be like, oh,
Unproductive.
like I'll be running and like dying, and it's like recovery. And it's like no.
No, sorry. But yeah, it looks like he was again primarily zone 4 here.
Yeah. Where's his? Oh, so he reaches zone 5 for a bit.
Yeah. I should go back and look at Paige's quick and. Oh, that's Cheryl's. That's Paige. So she definitely peaked in zone 5.
Yeah. So she was at 183.
Maybe twice, but primarily zone 4, it looks like. Yeah. So again, I think that would probably. I'm almost positive that would change if it was, biking and burpees or something.
Yeah.
You just see people get up to almost a max heart rate.
With the burpees?
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like something that's like low skill, high turnover.
Yeah.
Really the only thing slowing you down is your willingness to hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, it's really symmetrical.
Yeah, it's symmetrical.
You can see each peak is slowly crawling up.
Yeah. That last one's like just so nicely flat. Where the first one, I don't know if that first big dip is transition. Do you think that's a transition? Or is that...
I think so.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, I don't know. I should have pulled up some videos along with this, but I don't know if he... Yeah, it's just... But it's so flat that it's almost like... I feel like if you touch and go the sandbag, that there's going to be a peak.
Yeah.
But he's pretty good at that kind of stuff now. So maybe it just didn't spike his heart rate as much.
Yeah. And
but yeah, I'm pretty sure even if I did like 5 touch and go sandbag cleans at 150, you'd still see a peak.
Yeah. It could also be the axis, because it's showing from like 15 to 200, like
right.
And the other ones are a little bit more zoomed in, so you can see like those peaks a little clearer.
Right, and I think that's part of the reason why Cheryl's look so flat. Was because it was like spread out across the entire screen, where if you took it and squished it together, it would you'd see the peaks a little bit more.
Yeah. But yeah. I think it's pretty cool. His looks a little bit more similar to Dubby's, I believe.
Yeah.
If you were to put them
where
side
you
by
see
side.
the dips a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because I would expect this for people who are maybe less proficient at legless.
Yeah. But it could be, I don't know. Do you think maybe it's because they are proficient so they can like push it a little bit more?
Yeah, but that's what I mean is I don't think you'd see the dips. Like, I don't think you see those valleys in between. Like, I think it would be like
I get what you're saying.
a peak. What's he come down to? Like 150.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't want to say that's low, but that's definitely a rest period.
Yeah.
But Alex is also one of those athletes who is similarly to Jim, would rather work at a higher work rate and then take some rest. Whereas like, I'm more like, I might cruise on the bike relative to the workout and then like try to really minimize transition time between all of it. So like for me, you'd probably see a flatter heart rate graph on something like this.
Okay.
Sam, a couple things about this one. So apparently the sandbag at his gym broke and he had to use I think he used like 100-pound dumbbell. So I'm not exactly sure how to clean this. And he's like, I did get he's like, I do have the heart rate graph, but it wasn't with the sandbag. And I was like, send it over. It'll be a great talking point. So this one is also all over the place.
Yes.
But that's probably a movement. I don't know if he's ever done like a clean like that. I don't know exactly how he did it. I think he might have done it over the yoke or something, I think. But that'd be a very different workout and something that he hasn't done before. So it's probably a little trial and error of figuring it out.
Yeah. And each round looks completely different in terms of like the shape.
Yes.
Right? It's not symmetrical at all.
No. And that's like this looks like he's almost doing something like this could be a chipper and I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. It's constantly going up. But he was pretty low for quite a bit.
Yeah. You can see like that whole like first round. So I think all that first part is like introductory, not actually part of the workout.
Okay.
And then once I think he's in like that green zone 3 there is when I think that's like when he's like actually into the workout. But yeah, it looks like he just kind of took his time getting into round 1. And then round 2 it was like a much bigger spike.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean his max heart rate is fairly high. So I would think this probably capped out in zone 4.
Yeah.
I don't even think he ever got to zone 5, and his average, even if you get rid of the introductory part, is probably zone 3. So yeah, and honestly, that's probably why he didn't send me the heart rate graph right away, is because it was a bit of a sloppy like setup to the workout. Like when you don't have the equipment, or so he's like in New York City, so it's like a challenge logistically to get some of these workouts to work out correctly, in terms of like layout and spacing and equipment and all that stuff. So I think that's a good chunk of what you're seeing here.
Yeah. Man. Do you know if that gym gets like super packed where he can't like do some of his workouts as planned?
Yes, it does. He tries to work around it, but there's like times where like right now, before it was never an issue for him to do like rope climbs throughout the week, but now it's like basically only on weekends that he can get to do rope climbs because of like classes and stuff going on upstairs.
Oh man. Okay.
So most of the time he's in the basement doing like open gym stuff and able to like, get the equipment he needs and whatever. But
yeah,
it varies. Yeah. Yep. It's part of the deal as a CrossFit athlete.
Yeah.
It's like, we talked about this, like unless you have like the right setup and facility and all the equipment and stuff, it is a challenge.
Yeah, it's super difficult to do. That was always like my biggest stressor, was like making sure that I had everything I needed for that day and that it was going to be available. Yeah.
Which it's like, some people are fortunate where they can be at a spot where they don't have to worry about that stuff, which is, I think that's also why you see like those pockets. I mean, among other reasons, I think that's one of the reasons why you see like pockets of athletes at certain places, is because like they have the stuff they need in terms of like resources, like not only like coaching or other supportive things like, physical therapist or massage or whatever. It's also like they literally have the equipment that they need to be able to like do all these like party tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, CrossFits are, I guess triathletes are also, really I feel like it just comes down to biking for that. I mean, maybe a pool is a challenge to get to sometimes, but I think for the most part you can always run wherever you're at. Yeah,
that's the nice part. I remember I had a high school teacher who said that. She was a runner, and she would always be like,
my mom always says that. She's a runner like her whole life. It's like, she's like, I can get a great workout in and not a long time. And it's it can go anywhere with you. Yeah.
And if you're traveling, most hotel gyms, if they're going to have one thing, it's the treadmill. So
yeah, you want to run on a treadmill? I mean, I guess if you're in Arizona, it's probably hot outside.
Yeah, sometimes it's the only option.
Here it's like when it's icy, I don't want to break my legs, so I'm not going to run outside.
Yep.
Or it's dark all the time.
Oh yeah, the winters.
Yeah. Alrighty, I think that's all I got.
Sweet, that's all I got.
Yeah. Maybe we should do like a live heart rate sometime, like get heart rate off somebody and like watch them do a workout.
Oh yeah, because Whoop has that function where you can like
You should do it for
record.
Stacy and make her do like a, I don't know, echo bike burpee something.
Yeah, thrusters.
Yeah, watch her die. Watch her heart rate get up over 200. It's crazy.
Yeah.
She literally so we did a like a 30-minute, I think literally what I wrote was like 30-minute easy run, and her heart rate was, and it wasn't even hot outside or anything. It was like a very like nice cool fall morning, and it was literally like 186 or something, and she came in, she wasn't even like breathing that hard or anything, and her heart rate was just that high. I was like, wow, that is crazy. I was like, I've like maybe seen that heart rate like once in the last like 3 years.
I remember you said that yours doesn't get that high, and I remember
No.
being like, "Holy crap!" Because mine also gets high. So,
Like if I see 170 in a workout, I am working really hard.
it's like Lydia was telling me it was her first 70.3 or her second one, and she did.
You said
really
she had
well.
like some like crazy high average for a run or something, or
No, it was super
no,
low.
it's low.
Yeah, so she finishes a 70.3. She's like, does really well. She was top 5, and against like people who were like previous like world champion and all that stuff. And so she calls me. She's like, yeah, my heart rate reached, like when I finished, it was at its highest, and it was like 160 something, like 160ish. And I'm like, crazy, man. At the end of the 70.3, mine would be like 210.
It's like a hummingbird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how true this is because I haven't looked at research on it, but like I've heard that like oftentimes as people are like more trained, their max heart rate actually goes down.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
I would believe that just based on like, I haven't heard anything, just like anecdotally, they're just seeing like these athletes who are like endurance. Yeah.
Also, like you're probably not going to reach a max heart rate in like a 70.3.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know what that is. Probably like over 5 hours for
Yeah.
somebody like her. It's like,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
would expect her towards the end, if you're doing a sprint finish. I don't know if she did a sprint finish. Like if she
yeah,
like,
but your legs might be tired enough.
So
Like
tired
I'm
that
not
you
an elite
can't.
triathlete, but I've done enough where it's like, yeah, your legs are talking to you at the end. So
Yeah.
it just might be like you're damaged enough at that point that like
Yeah.
you can't really, the kick is kind of gone.
yeah, that's true.
And also like you can kind of look around and see if you need to or not. Like
yeah,
there's nobody around you. You're not going to sprint the last 400.
yeah. I bet it gets pretty high for those people who are doing like the super tries. I don't know if you've seen those races. They're like super sprinty style triathlons. That
Well, sounds like my jam.
yeah. Look up super try, and it's pretty cool.
Like how short are we talking?
It's pretty short. I have to
100
look
meter
up.
run.
It's like I don't think it's that, definitely not that short, but they do it like they're on an assault runner.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's
Oh,
like
I think I have seen that.
Yeah.
I would not like that. I don't like air runners.
Oh, I don't either, but yeah, I would fall.
Yeah, something like that. You like even high rocks. I mean, you're probably not going to reach the max heart rate, but you could be, yeah. I mean, easily zone 5. There'd be people that could hold zone 5 for an entire high rocks.
Yeah.
You know, an hour plus.
I believe it.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. People got other
Yeah.
stuff they're curious about heart rate about. We can always talk about it. So let us know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thank you.